What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Young Moguls podcast, where we keep it real, relatable, and super motivational. It's your girl, Reagan.
And it's your boy, Real MJ Hill. And look, y'all, today we have a very special guest for y'all. We have Arianna Fox. She's an entrepreneur. She's an author. She's a voiceover actor. She's an actress. Y'all, she's doing it all. And I know she's going to bring a lot of value and a lot of insight into y'all lives in all of the different industries she's in. So, yeah, y'all can't wait to get started. Arianna, just to get us started off, if we were to ask you, who is Arianna Fox, what would you say?
Goodness, I would say, well, I'm a human being who does a lot of things and wears a lot of hats, both physical and not.
Right.
I would definitely say, so I do many things. I'm a 15-year-old girl entrepreneur, motivational speaker, quite like yourself. It's so cool to see fellow motivational speakers out there.
Yeah.
Voiceover actress who has done voiceovers for Amazon, Taco Bell, Plato's Closet, and many others. Actress and polyglot, aspiring polyglot. I'm bilingual right now. And I'm sure I'm missing a few things here and there, but yeah, that's generally what I do.
Love to hear. I love to hear. So for the first question, I saw that you wrote, I saw that you started writing at 4, right? I was watching one of your interviews. You said you started writing at 4. I was like, yo, that's crazy. At 4 years old, I don't know what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? But like, what do you think sparked that? Like, what was your inspiration? Like, was it your parents, or like, did you see somebody writing? Like what was that for you?
Right. That's a great question. So firstly, that was actually what I forgot to say, was that I'm also a triple and best-selling published author. So yay. Yes, that is a perfect question. So for me, I really just know that, well, when I was younger, I didn't actually like to read, not really, but I was always reading anyway. I'd always be reading for things. I'm homeschooled,
Right.
stuff like that. So just, I was always reading no matter what. And I just kind of was aware of like, okay, writing is a thing. And I would always be, even before that, I'd always be creating characters and pretending and acting and doing all these things. And so just when I realized that writing is a thing, that you can put pen to paper or finger to iPad and do whatever, now it's finger to typewriter. I have one right next to me, but
Right.
that kind of thing. And I was like, you know what? I totally want to be an author. So in my little 4-year-old voice, I was like, I want to be an author when I grow up. Yay. And my parents were like, well, that's amazing. That's awesome. But why, when you grow up, why wait? Why not start now?
Right.
And that really, really, really got to me, because I didn't think about it before. I thought, if I want to do this, then I got to grow up to do it. But no, my parents were really the ones that helped me realize I did not have to wait. And so that's when I started writing my first book, which is a children's book. It's called The Princess Chronicles. And that's when I started writing it, was actually around 6 or so years old. Now, the thing was, so I've been writing even before that, but when I first started writing The Princess Chronicles for a real published thing, that was around 6. And the problem was that I only had to publish it around like 10 or 12, and the reason why was because we needed illustrations, and we spent years and years trying to find the right illustrator. So it's just a very long journey of that. But yeah, that's definitely what inspired me, was just that I wanted to be an author, and then that my parents were like, hey, do it right now. And I was
Right.
like, great idea. So yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Arianna, we're like one and the same. Like, I have a book called Why Wait, Your Time Is Now. And that's my whole thing, like inspiring young people that you are never too old, or people in general, that you are never too old or too young to accomplish your dreams and goals. And I kind of have a similar story when it comes to writing my book, because I wanted to write a book too. And I wanted to write something that could inspire others, because at the time, I was obsessed with A to Z mysteries and the Magic School Bus and fiction books like that. And so I just loved them so much, and going to English class and being excited to read them every single day. Like, that was one part of my day that I looked forward to. And I was like, hey, I kind of want to be a part of something like this, because my teachers were talking about certain authors. You know how you have book fairs and that in class in school. And so I said I wanted to be that type of person too. So I came home, talked to my parents about it. A competition ended up coming up. Anyway, my parents, they inspired me to do the same thing, to why wait? Because your time is now. I mean, you can write your book now. You can be a motivational speaker now. You can be a voice actress now. You can do anything that you have a desire to do to a certain extent. Some things you need a degree for, but a lot of things in the world that we're living in now, you can use it like on your computer and your phone, and you have so many resources to the point to where you can almost do anything from sitting behind a computer or sitting on your phone right at home. So I absolutely,
what I love is that you tell people like the same stuff that I'm telling people. I tell them this, you have the internet at your fingertips, you know, it's incredible. So I absolutely love how much we have in common there. By the way, real quick, you said A to Z Mysteries. Is that the one that starts with A is for alibi?
I don't even
like,
know.
Is it like where it's like like each one, this is for that? Okay, because funnily enough, this is my bookshelf here, and I actually have the first 3 right here.
What?
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember it would be like A's for something. I know U was for like an umpire or something. It was crazy. It was 3 things that started with the letter of that alphabet. But I do want to ask you, what are some myths about being a voice actress? Because you wear many hats, but I want to ask you about being a voice actress. What are one of the myths about it? Because I know like some people or a lot of news anchors we hear, they all have a very similar voice in that. But I want you to tell us, like, what are some of the myths about that?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I love it. These questions are very unique, and I love that about this interview so much. One myth I would definitely say about being a voice actress is that, just like you said, that all these voice actors have to have the same sounding voice, or perhaps that you have to have a, deep movie trailer sounding voice, to get into the industry. That is so not true. You can have basically any voice, your natural, normal voice, and be an awesome voice actor, because people are always looking for different kinds of voice roles. A lot of people think that voice acting another myth is they think voice acting is only in one particular category, like, yeah, I know what voice acting is. Voice acting is being in commercials and you hear it on the radio. Yeah, that's definitely one part of it. But there's voice acting also has to do with audiobooks. It has to do with some of the favorite TV animated things that you love watching, or foreign films that are dubbed by people in English. All kinds of, like I said, audiobooks, stuff that you listen to, podcasts. Voice acting has to do with so many things, even video games, when you're playing video games stuff. So yeah, that's something. It's funny. It's like one of the most, you always hear voice acting everywhere you go, and yet a lot of people don't even know that that's what it is. So
yeah, I definitely didn't know that it was like podcasts, audio books. I never knew that. I thought it was like, when I think of voice acting, I think of cartoons with a person behind, with the person behind the mic playing his cartoon character using the voice, right? So that was very cool. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna try to come out with like my audio book of like my first book pretty soon. So I'm about to join in the voice acting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
About to be a voice actor for the one time. But,
it's true though. Audiobooks is absolutely, and in fact, audiobooks is one of the ways that you can make the most amount of money doing voice acting, because you charge per word, and it's almost like how you do it with editing if you're editing, because I'm also an editor, and it's really, really lucrative, and the voice acting industry is actually a very good way to make money as well. But it's also just a whole lot of fun, and it's one of my favorite things to do ever.
Yeah, 100%. And on the topic of books, right? You wrote this one book. It really caught my eye when I was going through your Instagram. It was called, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but it was called like Sabre Black. Is that how you say it?
Saber Black. Saber
Black. So can you tell me about like that book, and how did you develop her character? Right? Because with stories like that, like I wrote a daily motivational book. That's something I'm very like educated in motivation, but like creating an entire character is so dope, and it really caught my eye because like of the cartoon I really want to create. So like, can you tell me about the process of creating the character and the story around her?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like from kind of how it originally started to kind of how, definitely. That's a wonderful question. So with Saber Black, it's actually funny. Her name wasn't even originally going to be Saber Black. It was originally Sabre Black. And later I was like, when I first came up with her, the reason why I even came up with her in the first place was because I like to write. You know how there are some writers who like swear by their particular program or platform.
Right.
Like, I just love Microsoft Word, or Google Docs is my only,
Right,
platform or
right.
something. I'm one of those writers who literally uses everything and anything. So I use Google Docs, Microsoft Word, typewriter, handwriting, and also any like writing apps out there. And so this was like a new notes app that I found called Text Edit.
Okay.
And so at the time I was like, oh, I want to write like a short story to write in this Text Edit. And so I was like, well, I absolutely love wings and winged people. And so why not create a story about winged people? That's how it started. And actually, I just happened to realize that I have a little plushie of Saber Black right here. So why not?
Oh, that's dope.
Wow,
Yeah. And her wings here.
that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. So
Yo, that is so dope.
thank you. So the idea then kind of evolved, and then I changed the name Sable to Saber because it just fit better, and she has a sword. So
Right.
you know, and so essentially when it started off as just like a simple short story, and then it really got deeper when my parents and I were kind of thinking about it, praying about it, and then we were like, you know what? This could really touch people if we turn this into a story about this teenager who is actually trying to balance in her mind between what she knows is right and what she's always done and tradition. And she's basically the premise of the story is that she's basically, there are two main types of winged people.
Okay.
There are the good guys, more or less, called Sarahs, and the bad guys, more or less, called Sendars. Obviously, there are a few exceptions here, but essentially, Saber here is born a Sendar, but she fights for the Sarahs instead. She has this very complicated past, and so she's like still struggling with her heritage, her ancestry, those that behave differently, but she knows what's right, or does she? Or does she?
Right.
So that really we were like, okay, we're going to publish this book, and so we're actually going to work on it as what we might call in the author community a whip, but that is definitely a work in progress. And so basically that kind of was how Saber started, but then we started building her character more, like you said, and really building kind of the a little bit of like, if you've ever read the
it froze a little bit, but you're all good though.
Okay. But like if you've ever read the Hunger Games, or at least
oh yeah, I love Hunger Games.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a character similar to like Katniss Everdeen, this kind of character. You'd be really, you just kind of relate to her. She's a little worn and weary with life, but you still relate to her, and she has these connections and relationships with other people. My parents, especially my mommy, she loves the Hunger Games, so she really loves Saber Black and the characters.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the general concept and idea of it, and we obviously developed and changed so much, and some like extremely big plot points weren't even plot points. I just winged it, and then I was like, oh my goodness, this would work. So yeah, some things just fell into place like that, but yeah.
Dope. That's
Arianna,
dope.
I really, really love that, because I feel like people as a whole, they connect through stories, no matter what you're trying to explain to them, what point you're trying to get across, whether it's motivational or completely nonfiction or fiction, they relate through stories. And so I really am so appreciative of the fact that you did that, because now people can read your book from their perspective and perceive it in their own way and figure out what kind of motivation that they want to receive from it. Saying that even though I may have been born in poverty, even though I may have been born in this terrible situation, I can still come out on the greater side. I can still come out and do all God has called me to be. So I absolutely love that about your book. And I'm definitely going to get it because I need to read it now. You gave such a great summary. I'm like, whoo, this sounds really interesting. But I do want to ask you, since the fact that you wear so many hats, is there one specific thing that you see yourself really conquering in the future, like in 5+ years or so, or do you want to continue with everything that you're doing? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Definitely. So a lot of people, when they ask this, I'm like, how do I answer? Because like you said, there are so many different things and so many different ways that I I feel like all three of us have just this absolute total thing in common, that is wanting to inspire people. We all three of us, we all like are, and I just love that. I love that there are just three amazing youth inspiring people that we're all here. That's like just so cool. I love it. I love it.
100%.
So that's definitely why one of the many things that I just want to do in everything that I do. So definitely speaking, continuing that, writing, of course. That's kind of like my main. If I had to pick one out of everything that I do, if I had to pick two out of everything I do, I would probably pick writing and voice acting. And because those are just really the things that relate to me the most, the things about which I'm most passionate. Now after I started to develop a love of reading, which has a wonderful little story all on its own, but now it kind of makes me want even more to write, and write in the style of the old classic books that I love. And so I would definitely say, inspiring people when it comes to speaking. Hopefully in the next 5 or so years, I would hope to speak to at least thousands, hundreds of thousands, that kind of thing, lots of people, to be able to, that's my hope, to be able to help as many people as possible, and grow the business as well, since I'm an entrepreneur, grow the business even more. And I would say that, and of course write more books. But
so I also had another question, right? So I know, being young, and I'm pretty sure Reagan, I know you probably didn't deal with this before. I dealt with it before. Being young, right? It's sometimes people don't take you as serious, right? And they treat you like, oh, you a kid, you don't know nothing, like you can't really do it because you're too young, right? But how would you how do you combat that? Like, how do you deal with that, being a young entrepreneur, like doing all of these things at such a young age, and when you come across those people who don't take you as serious, how do you combat that?
That is wonderful. And I just, I smile because I have definitely been through that. I have, there was this one time, speaking of stories, I'll tell a story. There was this one time when I was it was around 12 or so years old, and I first kind of came up with the idea for my business. Big Idea is kid coaching, which has to do with the speaking side of things and coaching side of things. And so basically there was this person, my parents and we have all been entrepreneurs for so long. My parents actually are owners of a family business called Splash Design Works. And so, thank you. And so I've been going with them to chamber mixers and events since giving people our spiel since I was like 6 years old. And I was always doing that. So there's this one business acquaintance that we knew very well at the time, who was just absolutely stunned with everything that we did, and especially with my endeavors. And she's just like, oh my goodness, I want to get you out there. And I'm like, thank you. And so then she said, okay, film yourself, film a video talking about you and what you do, and sort of if you will, and I will present it to the board of directors and board of people that I work with. And so I was like, thank you so much, that's so cool. So I filmed myself, I took this video, and then my daddy went to this meeting to present it, and then basically he came back, and I asked him, well, how did it go? And he said, well, it's basically this big board, a big circle table of all these older adults, just kind of like, okay, with very criticizing, analyzing eyes here, and they're looking at this video, and by the end they're all just like, no, she's too young, she shouldn't be starting a business or being an entrepreneur or whatever, all this stuff. And my dad told it flat to me what they were all saying, and we just kind of more or less had a decent laugh about it. And the reason why is because I know, and I think this is very helpful for those of you who are being told that it's a silly idea, or that it's not, you shouldn't be doing something because you're too young, that it does not matter about what other people think, or if other people are trying to tear you down, because as long as you believe in your idea, as long as you believe that, okay, this is going to be great, this is going to change the world, it has nothing to do with how young or old I am, as long as you believe that, and you have a few core supporters with you, like for example, for me, I had my parents, and they're so supportive. And so if you have a few friends, parents, whatever it is, few supporters with you, then, and you make sure that you love your idea, and it's good. It does not matter what the world thinks about it. You know, it does not matter if people are giving it dislikes on social media, if they even have that button anymore, or,
Right.
you know, it doesn't matter if they're just like, oh, please grow up, you know, show them that you are not too young, you know, wow them away with, wait a minute, wasn't that the teen that I was mocking a few years back because they had this crazy idea? Wow. You know, and prove them wrong in a way, you know, in a nice way, of course.
Right.
But, you know, definitely don't let other people manipulate your own idea of yourself or of your endeavors.
100%, 100%. And I think that's so important because being young, a lot of us, we deal with worrying about, you know, what a lot of other people think. Definitely with social media, right? It's criticism from literally the entire world. Like if you post a video and it goes viral and it does amazing and you loved it, there's still going to be hecklers in the comments, right? Trying to tear you down. In real life, when you're doing your thing, there's still going to be people trying to tear you down. It's always going to be that. Exactly. And just like you just said, Arianna, like you can never worry about what other people think. If you believe in it, if you believe in this dream, if you believe in this idea, you have to go all in on it. And it doesn't matter what anybody else has to say. It really doesn't. Because at the end of the day, they're going to have an opinion on you, whether you're successful or whether you're not, right? They're always going to have an opinion. So in whatever you do, if you believe in it in your heart, man, you just got to keep going. Like that's really all there is to it. And when you do that, I mean, success is yours in whatever field you're in. It doesn't matter how long it takes. As long as you keep believing in it, it can eventually come true.
Yeah, honestly, like I was just telling you the other day, Marquise, I seen this thing on Instagram where the author of Harry Potter, now everybody knows Harry Potter. Everybody knows that, which is why I was so shocked when I saw it. And I was just like flabbergasted. The post said that when she was in her early teens or like 20s or something like that, she had pushed this book and she pitched it to so many different networks and she was rejected.
She was like, all times.
What? Yes, she was rejected that many times. And I was like, are you kidding me? There's absolutely no way.
That's what I'm saying.
That was that one half of the post. The other half said when she was like 40 or 50, she was the first female author to become a billionaire off of writing a book. And I was like, are you kidding me? And it's because she believed in that book. It was something that she truly loved to do. It was something that she believed could change the world and she stuck with it. If it's something that you genuinely have a desire to do and you want to accomplish and you know that it can change the world, you know you can find success in it and you know that it could just be something that you love to do and something that you could see yourself doing in the future, then stick with it. It doesn't matter what people have to say about putting it down. It doesn't matter what negative opinions have to say. And yes, it can be intimidating sometimes, but at the end of the day, if you stick with it and you truly believe that it's something that you have a desire to do and will change the world, then it will. You just have 100% to show other people that and prove them wrong. And one thing is, I think that this generation, like our generation growing up, I feel like a lot of us in the next 10 years or so, we're just going to be like so strong, like so power hungry, because we're going to be so set on proving other people wrong to a certain extent. Because a lot of older people, I think we were talking about this on the live, they want to stay safe, right? They don't want us to take any risks because they want to see us succeed. And, you know, they were never told to take any risks. But our generation is the generation that's breaking these cycles and they're saying, no, I can do what I have a desire to do and accomplish our dreams and goals. I'm just trying to get it out to the rest of our generation because some don't know. But I just found that so inspiring when that came up on my Instagram feed.
Yeah, no, and that's amazing too, what you're saying, because you know, I love that you use the J.K. Rowling analogy, because actually I use that in my speaking events as well all the time. And I mentioned the same thing. And she wasn't just that she got rejected, but she was just living a terrible life at the time. You know, she was, she had actually been, I think either recently divorced or something had happened to her. She was actually the single mother of like many kids. And she's trying to live and just trying to, you know, pay the bills and work and stuff like that. And also trying to write in her spare time, you know, at cafes and things like that, and write whenever she could. And then, you know, she would send finally, when she finished that beautiful masterpiece, you know, she sent it in, you know, to all these people. And yeah, she got rejected 12 times before, you know, finally. And the only reason why actually the one who went with her at the time was because he wasn't entirely a fan, but his daughter read the first chapter and she really, really loved it. And, you know, he was just like, okay, you know, and so then it got accepted. But it's just like nowadays, pretty much you could say to anybody, almost no matter what language they speak, or anybody could say Harry Potter and they're like, oh yeah,
Right.
You know?
100%. And another crazy story that I saw was Squid Games. It took him 10 years. It took this man 10 years to finally get it picked up, and it made 900 million. I'm like, whoa. Just stories like that. It just shows you consistency and perseverance, despite how many people don't believe in you and despite how many people reject you, will eventually lead you to your success. And honestly, I just feel like that's literally the key to everybody's journey. Like, so many people give up early. Just imagine if in the first year, after he pitched it to all those different companies, he got nobody to show him love, none of that. He just gave up on it.
Yeah.
Those other 9 years is what made him 900 million. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's just crazy. It's just crazy to see what consistency and persistence with you.
Exactly. Even Walt Disney told in school once that he had no creative ideas. I mean, like,
Right.
Dude, this is Disney we're talking about.
Facts.
Right. That goes to show you that there's such a diversity of people that have succeeded. Like, it doesn't matter what background you come from. It doesn't matter what life you've had to experience. It doesn't matter whether you were born with $1 billion to your name or whether you were born with $0 to your name. As long as you have that vision and as long as you believe in whatever dream or goal that you're trying to accomplish, you can get the resources to do it, because there's literally people that have lived, and I mean, come from a lower place than you could ever imagine, that have succeeded and are crazy, that you would never even know until they finally share their story, which I find so very inspiring. So if you have a dream or a goal that you have a desire to accomplish, it doesn't matter what those negative people say. It doesn't matter what society tells you, as if you come from this background, you can't do it. You can, because you can find the resources to do it. And you just have to believe in yourself and have that vision, like I said in the beginning.
Totally.
Facts. And Arianna, like, before you got into all of this, like before you got into speaking, entrepreneurship, acting, like what are some of the things, if you could probably give like one or two, right? What are some things that you wish you knew before you got into them?
That is a very good question. I think I would say one of the things that I probably wish this is something that I technically did know before, but at the same time, I think I wish I would have understood it a little better, is really the importance of hard work when you're, I just said hard work, my Jewish side is coming out here, but like, really the importance of hard work and of actually working for it, because when and knowing that it's not always going to be easy. That is one thing I think I wish that I definitely knew when I knew when I started, is that, okay, it's not always going to be easy. And, I love this total, motivation filled, inspiration filled thing, that we're going off about and inspiring, and it's wonderful. But also the practicality of it and the facts of it are that truly it is going to be amazing. It is going to be awesome. And it's going to be incredible when you reap the rewards, but it's not always going to be easy. Even living that success life or that dream life, my family and we have, all these, really, really exciting ideas, that in the future, we'll be able to have this and this and that and be able to do this and that in our dream life. But we all still have that understanding that even in this dream life, it's not utopia. It's not heaven. It's not, you're still going to have problems. You're still going to have to work hard.
100%.
That was definitely something for me that I had to learn, because when I was super excited going into Big Ideas Kid Coaching, but I have had actually several times in the past where with both the speaking, so the speaking industry and that career path, and also the acting career path, with both of those, I actually thought very seriously and considered about possibly just giving up on it for some time. And we even, especially with the acting, so with the speaking, it was just I had this is really interesting. This is an interesting story. I had this speaking event coming up, right? And it was to a high school. I actually ended up speaking to around 600 students. But when I was preparing, thank you. Yeah, super cool. But when I was preparing, I was like, oh my word, this is a lot of memorization. This is a lot of work. This is a lot of stuff to do. And eventually, I was so frustrated and and tired and exhausted that one day I was just like, I told my parents, like, maybe I just shouldn't be doing this. Maybe we should just tell the people I just can't do it and all that kind of stuff. And my parents and we all kind of got to an understanding. They helped me understand it isn't about me.
Right.
It is not about me. And it's,
100%.
not, about, oh, this is so hard on me, because cut to a month later when I was finally ready and rocked it at Lake Forest High School. And my daddy actually got these video testimonials of different students. And the difference, and when I watched them the next day, and I was just feeling excited because I was just like, yes, I rocked it. And when I saw the videos, I was like, oh my word, my heart just burst, because they were talking about how inspired they were and how touched they were, and they were talking about all these things, and I was like, oh my ever loving word. And imagine what would have happened if I would have gone through with that, just giving up, and same happened with acting too. But I just think that that's definitely one important thing that I wish I knew, is probably that that it does take hard work, that you're going to have to prepare for those times. You're going to have to prepare for when things get tough, and you're just going to have to grind through it, and then you get to reap the rewards, and it's amazing. But it's not always going to be perfect.
100%.
I definitely think it's a myth that when you when you have a certain dream or a passion that you want to pursue, it's going to be easy. Like, you think when you see singers that are famous, like, Rihanna, Ariana Grande, Michael Jackson, people that were famous in the singing realm, you think it was easy. All they had to do was just sing, because they already had the beautiful voice, and they put out music, when really they had to work from rock bottom just like we did. They had to get signed to recording labels. They had to get signed to so many other different things. They had to really work in order to get to where they are now. And so I feel like it's motivation to be able to know where you want to go and know exactly what dreams and goals that you want to go. That's what keeps you going. But you have to understand that it takes hard work, and it takes time sticking to it. And so once you get that mindset, nothing can stop you. Like Arianna said, there's going to be days when you're down. There was days when I'm down. Like, I was in front of my entire middle school one time of about, I say 600 students too. And it was right when I had first started. And I mean, I did good with 8th grade and 6th grade, but 7th grade was the grade that I was in at the time. And I absolutely bombed. Like, I was rambling and everything. It was so scary. And I didn't know what to say. I just knew I had to, get words come out of my mouth. But it was one of my learning experiences and lessons that I learned in order to, be great and learn from that experience. And speaking of learning experiences, can you tell us a little bit, actually, Marquise, I don't know where he went. Maybe he's joining. Okay, he's there.
My bad. I'm back.
Marquise is back.
I had to go grab a charger because my iPad was about to die, and I was like, yo, it's gonna mess up the entire episode. I'm gonna be upset. So I had to go grab a charger real quick, but yeah.
Oh my goodness, that my head just like went spinning around. I was like, hope everything's okay. But Arianna, speaking of learning experiences, can you tell us one of your biggest learning experiences that you've had to go through in all the fields that you're in?
Definitely, more like kind of like what you're saying, like a sort of like a failure turned into a learning experience, that kind of thing. Definitely. And I think that in my favorite book series is the Sherlock Holmes original series by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And so one of his quotes, I'm always quoting Holmes like all the time, and one of my favorite quotes is when he says like I can afford to laugh at myself a little. And that's because, there are certain things going on that you're just like, okay, you know what? I can afford to laugh at myself a little. And that is so true. Sometimes we do have to not just take ourselves so seriously and just be like, all right, okay, here we go. So yes, absolutely. There have been so many learning experiences. I would say that one of them is definitely this one time when I had a very, very similar experience to yours, Reagan. It was instead of a speech, it was an acting monologue, and but it was actually a virtual acting monologue. And so I'm quite known for not getting nervous. Like, I love being on stage. I love talking to tons of people. There's really not as much of a stage fright thing with me, but I definitely would owe this to, and I'll explain in a bit, lack of memorization. And so basically one thing, it was this really big talent agency that was having these auditions. And so they sent this like very, very small script. It was like so small. And they said, okay, you do not have to memorize this, all good. But, we just need you to go to this Zoom meeting and record with all these other people and just do your audition. So I'm just like, okay, cool. And throughout the day, my parents and we all just kind of agree that kind of the best thing, the most courteous thing to do is still to memorize, even though they said
right.
No. And so I kind of like memorize it a little. I think I have it in the car and all this kind of stuff. And we're on our way back home. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I got this. And no, I didn't got this. That was grammatically incorrect. But we ended up logging on, and these unbelievably strict people are just like passing by people. All right, so now slate your name, your age, tell me about what's going on, blah, 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 etc. And go and perform your audition, your monologues. Okay. And so all these people are going and stuff, and they're just like kind of bossy, and I'm just like, all right. And I'm like trying to think about my words. I think I got it. Then they're like, all right, Arianna, so slate your name, your age, and do your audition when you're ready. And I'm like, hi there, I'm Arianna Fox, I'm 15 years old, etc. Blah blah blah. Probably 14 at the time. Then I was like, literally just completely like mindless, yeah.
I feel you.
Boom. I totally rocked the slate at least, but the audition was gone. It was out of my brain. So I was like, and so then they're like, okay, and I'm like, wait, can I please do this again? One more time, please. And they're like, okay, make a note that this is the second take. All right, go ahead. They said that, and I was just like, oh boy, okay. And they're like, I said the first few words. I don't even know what it was. It was like mac and cheese thing. I was like, mac and cheese. And it happened again.
Dang.
And I was just like, oh my word. And let's just say that it did not end well. They definitely didn't let me do it again. And I couldn't read it from the script. And that was it. I was very frustrated at myself pretty much the rest of the day. But we ended up kind of taking something from that. And that was that, okay, that wasn't good, but that was just because you did not prepare enough. And that was also because my nerves were going, and it wasn't like I was getting nervous at everybody. It was simply that I was just so focused, so laser focused. And I was just like, I want to do it right. And, you know, it really, I sort of, I guess, so the anxiety of just wanting to get it done.
Yeah.
Perfectionism, because I'm a very big perfectionist. So that kind of thing, you know, and I definitely would say, yeah, no, you too, Reagan. We're the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely say that was a learning experience. Okay, memorize properly. And also to, you know, not be so incredibly stiff on having to get everything, you know, done the right way. So I would say that's one of them.
I relate to that 100% because this is one thing that I actually, that was like one of the biggest lessons I learned in basketball, actually, right? All the games that I would go into, and I would just be overthinking. I'd be like, all right, we got to go in. We got to do this on offense. We got to do this on defense. When I was overthinking it, I always played bad because I'm just overthinking the whole game. Right. But when I trusted in my preparation and I went into the game and I was like, look, I'm just going to let the game come to me. I'm just going to do me. I performed way better. Things flowed better. Like the way that I was on offense and defense, everything flowed when I just prepared and I trusted in that and I just kept doing my thing.
That is a wonderful key for trusting your preparation.
Trusting your preparation. That's it. Like that's all there is to it, because when you start overthinking, it's like you're telling yourself, yo, you're gonna mess up. When you start overthinking, you're telling yourself like, man, you might not be able to do this. But when you're just like, yo, I prepared, like I'm about to go up here, I'm about to do my thing, and you talk with that confidence and you have that inner voice speaking to you with that confidence, man, whatever it is for you, whatever the opportunity is, you're gonna kill it. But yeah, I definitely think overthinking is one thing that you have to remove if you wanna do, you know, anything when it comes to you having to perform. Like just the overthink, you gotta calm that voice down. It is hard though. Like I've had to overcome it plenty of times, right? It's not an easy thing to do, but you know, as you keep doing it, like Arianna just said, it was a learning experience. So she learned from it. I'm sure before every opportunity now you're preparing like never before, right? So yeah, it's all a learning experience. But yeah, overthinking is one thing. You gotta silence that voice and trust in your process.
Yeah, you gotta trust in that preparation. When you said that, I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Me too.
Sometimes we do prepare enough. Sometimes like we prepare for hours and hours, days on days, weeks before, months before. I remember I had this really big engagement that wasn't for months away, and I was preparing and preparing and preparing. And so sometimes we do give ourselves enough time to prepare, but we don't trust in the fact that we've done all that preparation, and we start second ourselves. It really is the law of attraction. If you start thinking, okay, you know, maybe I might mess up, I might forget to say this, I might do this, this might happen, then that's what you're going to focus on. Like, I think I seen this video on TikTok, and they were like, do you know how skiers ski through trees or something? They're not telling themselves, don't hit the trees, because if they tell themselves not to hit the trees, all they're going to focus on not hitting the trees. They're telling themselves to follow the pathway. Now all they're thinking is follow the pathway, and now they don't hit the trees. So it's all about what you're telling yourself. It's all about
right.
It's like my daddy, he's done tons of things. He's been like a teacher, a substitute teacher, all kinds of stuff with the youth, and so he just knows how to kind of use analogies and all that kind of stuff. And so there's this a lot of times he would use this example with youth, and he would be just like, all right now class, I want you to not think about purple juicy delicious grapes.
Yeah, that's all you think about.
Exactly.
That's absolutely insane. So it's all about like, you just got to train your mindset. That's another thing that's important. Train your mindset to think about what you want. If you want to leave these kids flabbergasted, not even know what to say, inspire them, leave them with something that's going to flip their whole world around, then you will, because you're trusting in that preparation. So that's always important. I'm glad you brought up that point, Arianna. But I think, unless Marquise, you have anything else to say, we would like to ask you our final question.
Yeah, it's time for that question. Let's get it.
A question.
Let us know. Can you please tell us what your one key to being a young mogul is?
That is very, very good. So that one question, unfortunately, in my opinion, does not have a one answer.
Okay.
Because there are so many keys. There are so many little individual keys that unlock this big lock, and sometimes you unlock parts of it and not all of it, because you never really can just be fully, like the young mogul. But I think that one of the main keys we already talked about, and that is really believing in yourself, working hard, and also, like you said, trusting in the process, trusting in the preparation. I feel like the key is honestly a summary of everything that we talked about, and that is, like I said, working hard, believing in the process, all that, and then also just really preparing and keeping yourself motivated. And you're not always going to feel motivated, but still keeping yourself. I know, I'll give an example here. I am a part of the writing community in so many places. There's on social media, there are a lot of different writing communities. There's Twitter, writing community, Instagram, all that. And so one of the things that, I love them, they're great, but one of the things that I notice the most about the writing communities on social media is that they're always joking about and talking about, and sometimes very serious about, always procrastinating and always talking about how I'm waiting for my inspiration to strike. I think I'll write. Nah, maybe not. I think I'll just take a sip of some coffee and, just like, and I'm like, okay, if you constantly spend your life looking for motivation and looking for inspiration, you may never find it. And it's a sad fact, but you may never find it. You know how you're absolutely guaranteed going to find it? If you make it. If you make your own motivation and your own inspiration, and you just say, okay, I don't feel like it, but let's do it, and push yourself past that point of discomfort, just pass out of the comfort zone, and I would definitely say that is one of the biggest keys. But I would definitely say that there are many, how it's like a key, but you've got a lock, but you've got lots of keys on a keychain. That's how it works. It's not just one ultimate truth of the universe, but it is definitely tons of different individual truths.
100%. Y'all heard it best from Arianna Fox herself. Arianna, we want to say thank you, just for coming on and having this amazing conversation. It was very inspiring. I know it's going to be inspiring to the young moguls listening. And also wanted to ask, so everybody can find you and follow your whole career and every pathway you go, where can everybody find you on social media?
Absolutely. So you can find me, well, pretty much anywhere there is a place to find somebody. So you can find me on Arianna Fox, and afox author, like a fox who is an author. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, even TikTok. It's not my personal favorite, but you know, I am on it. YouTube as well. And then of course to find my books, which I will just list real quick. I have Princess Chronicles, children's book, A False Awakening, which is my Amazon best-selling sci-fi novel. Saber Black, the one that Marquise mentioned, which is my fantasy young adult / teen novel. You can find pretty much all of those for the most part on barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com. There is, I think, a shortage of maybe a few of them, but you can definitely find them from our site, my site, at ariannafox.com, ariannafox.com. And also, if you want to book me or for any speaking or coaching inquiries or anything of that sort, or just say, hello, I liked your interview, then you can just say, you can email afox@ariannafox.com. And yeah, that's mostly it. And of course, everything is also managed by my parents as well, so no worries about that.
100%. We'll have all of those in the description, so y'all can make sure to find it. YouTube, all of those different ones, we'll have all of that in the description. Also, the links to her books, we'll have that in the description as well, so y'all can get those books if y'all are interested. Because I'm telling you, them storylines sound real good. I really enjoy it. I really did. But again, Arianna, we just want to say thank you so much. And Young Mo's family. We'll see y'all next week, man. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all.
Guys. Bye.